and which is used, guys, here. So to to generating sequence numbers, okay, to generating sequence numbers on a particular column automatically. Okay, that is. And once you want to create the sequence object, guys, here, the sequence object you can go to apply on any number of tables. Okay, on any number of tables you can apply your sequence, right? So now any number of, so that's why that we can say once we created a sequence object, once we created a sequence object that can be used on any number of tables. Okay, that means simply we can say reusable. Simply we can say what now? Reusable. Okay, so one sequence object is created. Okay, one sequence object is created, and the sequence object you can apply on any number of tables. Okay, it will be working, and to generating the sequence numbers facilities will be provided on your particular table. Okay, now, so that kind of advantage of there in the sequence object. Okay, and this object when you want to create, okay, so we have some small syntax was there, guys, here. Let you find out the syntax of a sequence object. Okay, so what is the syntax here? Create sequence name, create sequence and sequence name. And it was having some parameters, guys, here. So let you see the first parameter. Okay, start with n. This is the first parameter.
Senior అనిపిస్తున్నాడు మనిషా.
And second one is called as here. Another parameter is called as what now? So min value n. This is one more parameter. And the next one is increment by n. This is another parameter. And next one is
మా ఒళ్ళంతా
max
జిడ్డుగా మమ్మీ.
value n. This is another parameter. And next one is no cycle and cycle. This is another parameter. And next one is no cache. Okay, no cache or cache. Okay, so no cache and cache, this is called as another parameter. So these are the parameters, guys, here the sequence object is going to be having us. Okay, the sequence object is going to be having. Okay, so let you see. Okay, let you see. So this sequence objects parameter, what is what? One by one we can go to check out and see. Okay, now, right. So come out here. First one is called as a start with n. Start with n parameter. Okay, start with n parameter. So in the name only there start with value. Okay, in the name only there start with. That means the sequence numbers do you want to start with the which number onwards? From which number onwards you want to start your sequence number? Okay, now, so from which number onwards you want to start with the sequence number? So that was telling by what now? Start with n. Okay, so it specifies okay, starting value of a sequence. Okay, so here n is nothing but, guys, here n is nothing but number. Here n is nothing but what now? Number. Right here, n is nothing but number. Okay, right. Next one is called as min value, n. So min value. So it shows minimum value in the sequence. So in your sequence, okay, what is your minimum value? That minimum value represented here, the min value parameter. And this is here, n is nothing but here, n is nothing but number. So minimum number in the sequence. Later we have it here, increment by n. So this parameter is telling us, okay, this parameter is telling us, okay, incremental value. So that means it specify incremental value in between sequence
ఉమాగా ఆడుతున్నాడు.
in between sequence numbers. Okay, and here also so n is nothing but number. Here also n is nothing but a number. Next one is max value n. Next one, max value n. Okay, it show maximum value in the sequence, and here also n is nothing but number. Okay, so up to here, these are the direct statements. We can easily understand what is what. Okay, and the next one is what now, guys? Here the next parameter, no cycle. So no cycle is called as, it is a default parameter. It is a default parameter of a sequence. Okay, now, and now we are observe. When we created a sequence object with the no cycle parameter, okay, so because it is a default, actually this is a default parameter of sequence, and when we create a sequence object with the sequence object with the no cycle parameter, then what it was happen, guys, here no cycle parameter, then the set of sequence number, then the set of sequence numbers then the set of sequence numbers are not repeated, guys, here. Okay, not repeated. So your repetition is not happen. Okay, it is not repeated here. It's not repeated. So that means whatever the set of sequence numbers are there, the same set of sequence numbers will not be repeated again and again. It's not a repeat. Okay, now it means that, for example, suppose you created your sequence object. Okay, so I'm writing create, suppose sequence sq1. Okay, I was given here, suppose start with value. Okay, start with value 1 and min value 1 and increment by 1 and max value 3. So up to here, when I was created, suppose one small example, suppose I created my sequence object with no cycle statement, just normally we created now. So when we created, what it was happening, guys, here your sequences start with 1 and it was started with 1. Okay, so sequences started with what? 1. So 1, later it will be going to 2, and later it will be going to 3. So the starting with 1, because I was given 1 here, so that is a starting with 1, and this is only minimum value and increment by 1. So increment 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, and maximum value 3. So once your maximum value, that means once your
నా
sequence
వాడేసిన
number is
ఇంద్రసేన
reaching to
రోజు
maximum
ఆడుతుంటాడు
value,
మళ్ళా.
then it is called as a one cycle is completed. One cycle is completed. Okay, now so 1, 2, 3. So this is completely reaching to your maximal how much you given. So this is completing one cycle, completing one cycle, right? After completing one cycle, it means that it was reaching to maximum value. It was reaching to maximum value. Then this set of sequence numbers will not be repeat again. The set of sequence numbers are will not be repeat again. Okay, will not be repeat again. Okay, now so that means that once it is reaching to maximum value, then your set of sequence numbers will be stopping there, but it doesn't go to restart, and that it doesn't go to repeat your set of sequence numbers when you created your sequence object with no cycle parameter. But the same thing, suppose same thing if I'm using cycle, same thing if I'm using cycle. Okay, in cycle what was happening, you can see the same statement when we create a sequence object with a cycle parameter. Okay, with cycle parameter, then what it was happening here, let you see what it was happening. Parameter, then the set of sequence numbers are repeating. It was a repeat again and again. It was repeat again and again. Okay, it will be continuously repeated. So for example, so same example, when you want to take it here, the same example, same example, let you see now. So when I was given, but along with this, I'm using what now? Cycle. Along with this, I'm using what now? Cycle. Okay. So when I'm using cycle parameter along with my, okay, the sequence creation, then what it was happen. So as usual, start with value 1 and minimum value 1, increment 1 and max value 1. So what I said, once it was reaching to maximum value, once it was reaching to maximum value, then what we can go for this. So one cycle is complete. After completed one cycle successfully, then it was because I'm using cycle. Then what happened? Yes, again, if I enter the next value is repeated again. So again, it started 1, 2, 3. Again, it started. So again, it will be started again. Once it was reaching to maximum value, okay, again it started to faster. Okay, again it started with the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It will be cycling. Cycle means continuous process. So once the sequence maximum value is going to be reached, again your sequence starts with the 1 only. So 1, 2, 3. Again 3 is over now, again go for 1, 2, 3. 3 is over now, again go for 1, 2, 3. So like this it will be starting, guys. Okay, now so this is when we want to create sequence object with the cycle statement. Okay, this is the difference of no cycle, right? Now next one is, what is the next one is no cache. No cache. So here no cache. What does it mean by cache? Cache is nothing but, that means observe, when we create, okay, when we create a sequence object, create a sequence object with with no cache, with no cache parameter. Okay, with no cache parameter, then the set of sequence number, the set of sequence numbers, okay, sequence numbers are directly, okay, numbers are directly stored in database, directly stored in database. Okay, now so that means whatever the sequence numbers are generated here, that all set of sequence numbers are directly stored in database memory. But when it was storing into database memory, then problem is what now? Okay, so when it's storing your sequence numbers in database directly, what is the problem here? Observe. The problem is what now? So whenever user want to access, user want to access, okay, data, okay, from database, or access data based on sequence number, based on sequence number from database, then then the user request, user request, okay, will go to database, and
Hey!
return and return return values. That means return sequence value, okay, from the database to user. Okay, but this was going to be happen, okay, but this is going to happen, okay, happen not only one time, it was happening what, every time, each and every time it was going to be happen, each and every time it was going to be happen. So that means for every user request is going to be database, and database is going to be processing, and whatever the user is asking, the data is going to be retrieval and sending to user. This is not only one time, every time whenever user want to accessing the data based on sequence numbers from the database memory, so that user request will go to database, and database is going to be processed and returning value from the database to user. Okay, so this is the repeatedly, this was going to be repeatingly it was happening. So whenever it was happening like this, every time going to database, retrieve data, going to database, retrieving data, going to database, retrieving data. So every time it was going to be happen like this, automatically your database burden is increases. So whenever database burden is increased, automatically what is the problem here? The performance wise degraded. That means it was a decreasing your database performance. For example, let you see. For example, this is one application, for example. So this is one application. So in this application, okay, are you created? So create sequence, okay, and sequence name is okay, S1. Some parameters I'm giving to create. Right now, after creating a sequence objects in your application, then what we said here we have a database. Here we have a database. Suppose this is your database memory. Okay, now, right. Now, sequence is going to be using in the application. Now sequence is generated. So for example, sequence one is generated. Sequence one is generated. So whatever the sequence one is generated, this number directly saved in your database memory. One is saved. Suppose second sequence number is generated. This number is also directly saved into database memory. Now one more number is generated. So this number is also directly saved into your database memory. So like this, the how many up to, for example, up to 5 sequence numbers are we generate. My maximum value 5. Then what happened? This 5 sequences are generated. Okay, now 5 sequences are generated, and these all 5 sequence numbers are storing under directly your database memory, right? So that means the set of sequence numbers are directly be stored under database, right? Now after storing like this, then later on, suppose user want to access, he want to access some data based on sequence numbers. Now he was writing like this: select star from so and so table. Okay, so EMP table, for example, where serial number or sequence number is equals to 3, suppose. Then what it was happening, guys, here, this is one user sending a request, and this request will go to your database server. That means SQL server. This SQL server will go to your database memory, and as per user request, whatever user wanted, the sequence number 3 data he wanted, then SQL server will go to database memory, and in this section, and wherever the 3 is there, the 3 was taken out from the database. Okay, taken out from the database, and send back to user application. Send back to user application. This is going to be happen. For example, next attempt. Okay, again the user is asking. Again, user is passing like select a star from EMP where serial number okay is equals to suppose 5. Again, what happened? Again, this request will go to where now? SQL Server. Server will go to again database and searching, and wherever the 5 is there, the 5 is finding and send back into user application. Send back into user application. So that means how many number of requests the user is passing or sending to your server, then that many times your SQL server is going to database memory and have processing, that means checking, and the required data is going to be retrieval and sent back to application. So this will be going to happen when we are creating a sequence object without a cache parameter. Okay now. So for example, same to same. Now there are 100 users are there. For example, there are 100 users. So 100 users sending 100 user requests to access the data. Then these 100 user requests are going to where now? These 100 user requests are going to where now? SQL Server. So SQL Server will take this 100 user request. And SQL Server, what it will do, how many times it will go to your database here? 100 times it will go to database. How many times it will go to database here? 100 times. Okay now. So suppose there are
ప్రాసెస్ సార్
100
దాంట్లో
users are sending 100 requests, okay, based on sequence object. Then this 100 query requests will go to server, and server will go to 100 times to database and processing and returning the data. So that means every user request purpose, your server has to go to database and searching, and after searching, it was retrieval and sending back to user application. So this is what it was happening. So in such a cases, what it was happening here, my database pressure, okay, burden is increases. The database burden is increased. So whenever database burden is increases, automatically the performance of database is decrease. The performance of database is decreases. Okay, because of reason pressure is increase, automatically performance will be slow down. Automatically performance will
ఏ
be
కమండి
slow down. So that was going to be happening, guys, here when we created a sequence object with a no cache parameter. Understand all of you know? So this kind of problem is facing. This kind of problem is facing. So then to overcome this problem, then what I am going to use cache n. Cache n. So yeah, now when I am creating the same thing, observe. When we create a sequence object, when we create a sequence object with the cache parameter, okay, with cache parameter, then what it was happening, you can say, then system is allocating some memory, that is called a cache memory. Okay, it was allocating some memory, that is called a cache memory, and this cache memory is going to be allocated internally. When you created a sequence object with a cache, then internally system is allocating some memory. Okay, memory in SQL server side. Okay, in SQL server side. Later, what it was happening, guys, here later, whatever the sequence numbers are generated, so these sequence numbers, whatever it was generated in your application, these sequence numbers is going to be stored, numbers are storing in storing in database, and is database is preparing 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 a copy, okay, set of sequence numbers, preparing a copy set of sequence numbers and stored in cache memory, so that what it was happening, guys, so that whenever user want to access, okay, user want to access data, okay, based on sequence, based on sequence number, then okay, then the user request, then the user request request is going to cache memory, cache memory, and return, okay, return data from cache memory, return data from cache memory instead of instead of okay, instead of
ఇప్పుడు అమ్మా
instead of database. Okay, so instead of database, understand my point here? So that means what it was happened once you created cache, so one memory is going to be allocated here. Cache memory is allocating by system in your server side application, and whatever the sequence numbers are generated, that every sequence number is storing under database only. But database, what it will do, one set of or one set of sequence numbers copy is going to be prepared, and that set of copy storing under cache memory. It was keeping under cache memory. Then later, what it was happen, whenever user want to access the data, so he want to directly interacting to cache memory instead of a database memory, so that means what happened here, your user
ఇటు పక్క
requests
ఇప్పుడు
are
చూడమ్మా ఇటు
not
పక్క
going to
వస్తుందామా
database, your user requests are going to cache memory. So that means every request is going to cache memory instead of database memory. Then the database pressure will be what happened, reduces here. So whenever database pressure is reduces, automatically performance will be good. Okay, so that means observe. So what it mean, observe. Suppose this is your application.
మా
This is your application, right?
ఎవరా
Okay.
ఆ,
Now this is
దీన్ని
your
మళ్ళీ ఇంకొక మెయిల్
SQL server.
అట్టా మమ్మీ పైకి నేనేందో ఆయన
Data, and this is SQL server. Okay, na? And this is database. So now what I'm telling guys here, suppose I'm creating now, create, okay, create sequence, okay, create sequence and sequence number 1. Okay, along with what I said, some parameters I'm passing, along with the, I'm creating cache, some size is n equals to size 5. So n means size of a cache file. So 5 KB, 20 KB or 30 KB, whatever it was given as. So after creating your sequence object like this, okay, then cache I'm using, then immediately the cache memory, that means the system is created one cache file memory at your server side application. So this is what we called as a cache memory. This is called as a cache memory. Okay, right. After creating cache memory, then what happened? Yes, this sequence object I'm using in my table to generate. Suppose now the numbers are generated. First, one is generated. So this one, what I'm telling here, it was storing under directly database. One is directly storing under database. But whatever the one is storing into database, the same, the database is going to be keeping under cache memory as usual. It was transferred. That means the copy of one. So this is called a copy for your understanding purpose. So copy value. So it was preparing one copy value and the copy value storing under cache. In the same to same, are you generating the second number 2? The 2 is going to be stored into cache only, so storing under database only. So database and that copy storing under cache memory. Next, it was generating 3. So 3 is going to be stored under database 3. And this is also one copy of value storing under cache. So like this, how many values, for example, 5 values we created. And these are 5 values, and these are 5 values storing here as usual. So storing here 4 and 5. The same copy of data is having in your cache memory also 4 and 5. Okay, now it will be maintained like this. So what it was happening guys here, every sequence number is storing under database, and database what it will do, the same copy values is going to be storing under cache. It was sending to one copy value into cache memory. Okay. After it was having like this, then later on, user is going to be access. So he was right. Select a star from EMP, where sequence number is equals to 3. Then what it was happening, guys, here, this user request will go to our SQL server. Our SQL server. And the server now, it doesn't go to database memory, it is going to cache memory. It is going to cache memory. Going to cache memory and searching, and whatever the user is required, the data is retrieving from cache memory and sending to user application. In the same pattern, if I want to use, okay, one more, suppose I'm calling like set star from where sequence number is equals to 5. If I'm sending again, this request is going to be SQL server, and server will go to cache memory, and from the cache memory your required data is going to be fetching and send back to your user client or user application. So what it was happening guys here, every user request is going to cache, and from there it was retrieving your data. That means your user request will not going to databases. Your user request is not going to databases. The point understand na? Point understand na? So this is, it means what happened every, for example, there are 100 user requests are there, 100 users sending 100 user requests. Then these 100 user requests will come to where server. The 100 user requests come to where server, and server will go to 100 times to what, to where it will go 100 times, it will go to
Ah?
cache memory only. So that means your user request will not go to database, it was going to every time cache memory.
ఏమో పోమే
So in
పాత
such a case, what happened guys here, your database burden is decreases because no pressure. The pressure is decreased.
రేయ్
Okay, the pressure is decreased. Database burden is decreased. When burden is decreases, automatically performance will be increases here. The performance will be increased. So your database performance will be increased because of reason every user request is going to cache memory, and from there your user necessary data is going to be taking instead of database memory.
ఇంతవా
So in such a cases, what happened? The pressure, that means the request is not going to database. Okay, then database automatically free. It was going to be making free, or it was having free time. So free time means automatically pressure is not there. You have a more free time. There is no pressure. Then what happened? Burden is decreased, and when burden is decreases, pressure is decreases. Then only performance will be good. Performance will be come to you. Okay, na one point very important to remember. For example, now you are working in a company as an employee. Okay, you are working as an employee in a particular company or organization, whatever it is. Suppose the company management people, the organization management people are giving more pressure on you. Okay, they was giving more pressure on you. Hey, do what this work, hey, do that work, or do this work, or do that. So this pressure is coming from the management side now. Then what happened guys here, your performance is not well, because when every work is assigning to you only, you are employee, but every work is going to be assigning to you only. Then what is happening here, every work means what happened, work pressure is increases. So it's a very important point. Work pressure is increases, automatically your performance, that means the way of working is going to be slow down, or we can't give a good output. Yes or no? Okay. If I'm making pressure to you, if I'm making pressure to you, then you didn't deliver. The excellent output is not delivered. You can't give it best performance. You can't deliver. Your performance is good, very good level. You cannot deliver here. Because why you can't, why the employee can't give a good performance, why the employee can't give a good result means that employee have a pressure. Suppose you don't have a pressure, you have a some freeness. Okay, yes, okay, so worker, correct worker per a day, how much work you have to do, that much work only your management is assigning to you. So in this cases, what happened? So the timings and work will be equal. Okay, then what happened here? So your pressure is not there. When your pressure is not there, then employee will give a excellent output to the management people. Good result is coming out. Good result is coming out. Yes or no? So that is what nowadays. That's why in IT industry you can see so many people are why they're going to be suicide cases and why they're resigning jobs means pressure, only pressure. Okay, if your management people, if your team lead, project lead is good now, then you will be also good. But your team lead and project lead or management people are giving more pressure now, then so many employees are leaving your company, leaving company. Otherwise some another negative way, there's somebody suicide cases, somebody did suicide, they're taking decisions, negative decisions. Okay now, so this kind of IT pressure. Okay, so then what happened? Performance is not good now. Yes or no? So that is what. Same thing. How you say human being, here database. If you give more pressure on database, database also getting pressure, then what happened? Performance is delay. It doesn't give correct performance. It doesn't give excellent performance to you. Okay now. So getting late responses. Otherwise, sometimes you are listening. Sometimes you are listening in a banking sector or somewhere. You can go, server is down. Yes or no? Somebody saying in banking sector, oh sorry, server is down. So server is down. Okay, this kind of words we are listening. Why this server is down? Because of reason more transactions are going on the database. So database, so certain time it was getting pressure, and that certain time what happened? Complete your system will be shut down. Okay, now so that is what we call it. So here also to avoid this problem, the programmers what they will do, they're creating one cache memory, one temporary memory they created. In the temporary memory database, what it will do, the set of sequence numbers copy is going to be keeping under memory in cache memory and telling to user, hey, user, if you want it anything, okay, if you want it your data, if you want it your sequence data, the sequence data already I kept into cache memory. So please go to cache memory. Don't come to me. Don't come to me. So please go to cache memory. I already kept your necessary data in the cache memory. So please go to cache memory and take your necessary data from cache memory, but don't come to me. In such a cases, what happened? Database will be, it was going to be pressure is decreases. No? Yes or no? It will be free. Database will be free and it was giving excellent performance to you. Okay, so this is what cache advantage. This is what now cache advantage. Okay, now right. So this is what it was happening, guys. Here, okay, and here n is nothing but size of a cache file. Okay, cache file size you will be prepared. So now this is guys here the total what
ఇంకో
are the
ఇంకో బ్యాట్ ఇది.
parameters are there. So these are the
ఆ?
complete parameters of your SQL
ఇది కాదు ఇంకో
object.
బ్యాట్ ఇది.
Okay, now so let you see. I will show you some examples to get some idea how this will be working.
ఆ,
Let you see. For example, so select your database now. in this database, so my DBS 6 p.m. database, if you want to go,
Hey,
then here programmability here option. So let you see in this programmability we have a sequence folder is there. Can you identify in your programmability? Okay, we have a some sequence folder is there, right? Now in this sequence folder, so as of now there is no sequence object here. Okay, now right, let you come out and create. So I'm creating one sequence object, guys. Carefully observe. I'm creating one sequence object. Create sequence sq1. Okay, I'm passing a start with value 1, min value 1, increment by 1, and max value, okay, is suppose 3 I was given. Okay, I was given 3. So now in that case, okay, suppose I just come out to execute this entire query. I'm going to execute it now. The sequence object SQL cache size is greater than number of available values. Okay, fine. So that is not a error. That's not a warning. It's just telling us. So here we are not using any cache. Memory is not using. Yes or no? We are not writing any cache. So without cache, without cycle, we created. That means the sequence object is a no cycle and no cache parameters I created. That's why it was telling cache size is greater than number of available values. Okay, now right. So after created this sequence object without cache and without cycle. Okay, what it was happening, you can see. Let you come out to your sequence folder. Let you come out to your sequence folder and to open it. Yes. So SQ1 sequence is created. Your SQ1 sequence is created. Okay, your SQ1 sequence is created. Right. After created the sequence here, okay, now you can observe. Okay, this sequence object now I can use into any table. Okay, so I'm using here the table. Suppose I will create a one table. Test number 99 is one table. So serial number and some name I'm passing here. So varchar of some size. So the table I'm going to prepare. After preparing this table, now when I'm inserting the data into this table, so in serial number column, suppose I applied here sequence number, that means sequence object is applied. But whenever you want to apply sequence, okay, it's a very important. When you want okay, to to generate to generate
నీళ్ళు పోసుకో త్వరగా
sequence numbers
నీళ్ళు
on
పోసేసుకో పదం
on a particular column of a table. Okay, then we follow the following syntax. What is your following syntax here? Observe following syntax. Okay, the syntax is following syntax is next value for, here I want to give a sequence name. Okay, now so this is our syntax. So whenever after creating sequence object, whenever you want to generate sequence numbers on a particular column of a table, then this syntax should be used. Okay, now right. So let you see next value for sequence name. Let you come out now. So table successfully we design. Okay, now I'm going to testing. Okay, now I'm inserting now. So insert into, so your table name, I'm going to pass in table name. What is the table name here? Test number 99 of serial number comma name. Okay, sending values of, so in place of serial number, okay, in place of serial number, what I want to give here, next value for, what is my sequence name? SQ1. next value for SQL. Okay, now comma, and now I'm passing name is, for example, Sai. See, in this case, what I'm going to do, serial number value, user is not sending, guys. User, in place of serial number, he was passing what now? Next value for sequence object is passing. And only the user is entered only the name of the employee. So let you see, come out and execute. I just executed now. Okay. One sequence is generated. Next, I will go for Jones. Second one, careful observer. Second record is inserted. Okay, second record is also successfully inserted. Next one is, suppose I'm taking a Scott. The third record I'm inserting. This is also inserted. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, now let you see. If I inserted here what? But in your sequence object, what is your maximum value? 3 only. Already 3 is generating already. That means 1, 2, 3 already generated. And this is fourth employee data I'm inserting. When we inserted fourth employee data, what it was happening, you can see it is allowed or not allowed. Check out. Now I want to go for this. Immediately error. Why, sir? Immediately error means already 1, 2, 3. Your maximum value already reached. Your maximum value already reached, but you are inserting fourth value. But your maximum value, how much you given? 3 only. At the time of sequence creation, what is maximum value? 3 only. So that's it was. The sequence object SQ1 has reached your maximum value. Has reached your maximum value. So finally, let you come out. Finally, let you come out. Select a star from test number 99. And you can see your sequence number is generated 1, 2, 3. So because my maximum value is 3, so 1, 2, 3, your sequence number is generated. But when you try to inserting the fourth name, the fourth employee name or student name, whatever it is, the fourth record, then it is not allowed. Understand? So this is what now, no cycle and no cache. That means 1, 2, 3, these set of sequence numbers are not repeated here. One thing, because of no cycle. And these values are directly saved into where it is database memory. So that means now if I want to access my data based on the sequence numbers, then the request is going to be directly database and retrieving data from database. Okay, let you see. After that, suppose you are going to be done. Are you calling like this? Select a star from test 99. Okay, where sequence number is, if I'm asking 3. So the 3 is getting now. But this data is internally what it was going to be happen, the process I was explaining now. So this request will go to server, server will go to directory database and database data searching, and whatever your 3 sequence number is found, the data retrieval from database and send back to user application. This is internally happen. Okay, now this is without a cycle, without a caching. For example, another sequence is created. For example, sequence number 3, and now I'm going to using, guys, here I'm using cycle, and suppose I'm passing cache number some size 5 or 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever the size you can give it. So cache file size is a 5 KB. Now you just go to execute now. So sequence is successfully created. And now what I want to do, suppose one more table I'm designing here. The table name is 100. The new table is I'm creating now. Okay, this table is 100. Table is also created. And now into this 100 table, I'm inserting some data. Okay, 100. And now same next value for sequence number 2. This is sequence number 2. And now I'm inserting some name is, okay, some name is, for example, yeah, some name is A. Now let you see. If I'm inserting A, right? Now this will be accepted. So sequence number is 1. Next I'm giving here B. Now what happened? This is also accepted. The sequence number 2. Next I'm asking C. So this is also accepting. The sequence number 3. So that means 1, 2, 3. So you reach your maximum value now? You reach your maximum value or not? Yes, you reach your maximum value. But after reaching maximum value, but still you're continuously to insert. Still I'm inserting now X. Now you can see, now it is accepted now? Yes, of course, it is accepted. But it is accepted. What is your sequence number? 1. My sequence number is 1. That means again, your sequence number starts with 1. Suppose I'm giving Y. Okay, let you see. It is also accepted. Let you see if I'm giving Z. So this is also accepted. Okay, next I'm giving here m, this is also accepted. Next
Mama,
I'm
mama.
giving n, this is also accepted. Next I'm giving
రే
here m and
వేసుకోరా.
o, it is also accepted. Okay now, so all the way it was
అబ్బా.
accepted, guys. Now
లే
you can see,
వేసుకో,
let you
బట్టలు
call
వేసుకో
your
త్వరగా లే.
table, let you call your table, how the sequence is generated, the table number 100, and to let you call. So let you see what it was happening. Okay, so 1 2 3, this is called one cycle successfully completed. Again started your sequence number 1 2 3. Yes or no? Again your sequence is started here, what now? 1 2 3. Okay now? So understand cycle advantage, understand, right? And later what it was happening, guys, here these set of sequence numbers is storing database and copy. One copy is created by database, and that copy of data storing under cache memory. So later, if it's storing under cache memory, then what it was happening, suppose are you calling now, are you retrieving or accessing your data based on some serial number 3. Okay, now let you go and execute it. Now what it was happening, this request is going to be server. The server is going to be where it is not a database. Server is where it is going to cache memory, and from that cache memory your data retrieval. So from that cache memory your data retrieval, so it was retrieval like this. Okay now? So and this data coming from where it is coming from, cache memory, not a database memory. So this is okay, how to preparing your sequences as per your requirement. You can prepare and apply on your table calls. Okay now? So this is one of the small concept, guys, in our SQL server. Okay, so that was finished here, and my people sharing these notes. After sharing those notes, once your side also practice it. Okay now, clear now, right, guys? And tomorrow we will go for one more topic of SQL part. After completed this SQL, I said we started TSQL. Okay now, right, guys? Thank you so much. And anybody having a doubt or today concept, you can ask me your doubts. If there is no doubts, you can log out.